Okay, hello, hi, how are you? I'm a little bit uncomfortable, just to be honest, and I'm trying to talk about projectors and alchemy, and I find it such a. I had this download today when I was talking. I was listening to this woman talk about projectors and doing business and all of this, and the ways that you can talk about projectors, at least for me, when you are starting from a really really deep and disadvantageous position, when you have maybe absorbed during many many different times, many years, the most important years of your life, when you've done all of this absorption. Sorry that this is not my first language, so I hope that the information really is getting across. And the thing that started getting me to embody the projector way was alchemy. It was really about alchemy. It was everything about understanding what and how my body was working. So, for giving you a little bit of context, I was raised by a very dogmatic father. So I have an open ajna. I have open ego, open solar plexus. I have, of course, open sacral, open head, and open throat. And so I had a physically abusive father. Okay, he was violent in my body. So you can imagine how or what that does for somebody that has splenic authority. He had a way of literally just for hours, hours, explaining us what was life about, explaining with certainty the type of things that we were supposed to do, we were supposed to think. He would control my tastes in music, in food. For example, I am in digestion. I am a six line, six. I do direct light, and that means that I'm also very sensitive to what I eat and how I eat it, and that also includes sometimes textures and sometimes like we are sensitive people in terms of food. So it was really difficult for me to to get in touch with my intuition before that. And I remember this was about like 5 years ago. 5 years ago, sorry, no, 5 years before I actually started doing like and listening to myself. I did a group therapy session. This was just like I was in activism. I've always been like a anti-systemic, anti-system person. Just like everything for me, a projector being very sensitive to the quality of life of other people and everything. So the thing is that it was the first time that I actually got to think about myself in any kind of self-reflective way, and to feel myself or whatever. And they asked us to draw a picture of ourselves, and the entire part of my body, I was like, this is like a black square, like black completely painted inside the black square. That was my image. That was how connected I was to my body. I didn't even know when was my period. I did nothing. So that was really hard for me to actually get to the point of that. And the more that I've come to be in business and trying to understand like my energy, and not to get more victimized, because of course like when you have such a strong conditioning when you are a kid, how do you get later to the rest? I had how do you actually direct your life with certain confidence if you don't have any particular relationship to your body? So I guess, as always, like, whatever has been your biggest pain can become like the medicine that so many people need, because of course in my way, and I also have the channel of struggle, so sometimes it's like the answers are right here, but I need to get through the experience and I need to do it my own way. And that also allows me, and the more that I've gotten in touch with how my body feels, then it starts to get very clear, like the little nuances and textures that alchemy can really take you to. So this is not about, let's say, this is not about being a mystic or being this other thing. It doesn't matter. It's just how you can understand your own body and how you can see and experience for yourself how thoughts and your body and everything is intertwined. It helps you so much better to be in presence, to be in receptivity, and to be in this presence of a projector, of your presence on itself, in and on itself, is extremely healing. It is exactly what the world needs. The world doesn't need you to go further into trying to demonstrate what you can do for other people. And this is, of course, I'm still in the experiment. Oh, of course, the experiment is never ending, but I think that from the place that I was starting, I understood, like, but how many people actually don't understand this? Because, for example, what I saw is that some people started from already more advantageous positions. Okay, so maybe your family has always had money, for example, and because that is like one of the things that we value most in society, then you can think, or you can go to certain places where you feel like everything is like a little bit easier for you. But at the end of the day, if you have collective channels, collective circuitry, then you will find yourself to, like, being in this state. Actually, I'm going to connect this other microphone. Just, let me see. Hmm, I don't know. Can I? Can I do this? Can I do this? I don't know. Is it working now? Shit. And I don't know how to do this here. Anyways, okay, I'm going to hola hola. Hello. Okay, I'm gonna trust that you are listening to me. Damn it. A microphone? Give me. Give me. Give me. Give me. Give me. Is it working now? Mm. Okay, no, it's just doing whatever it is. Its thing. It's okay. I really hope that you are listening to me properly. So the thing is that I was that maybe you have had like a really good upbringing in certain things, but still you have collective circuitry, you have certain themes and the pains of the body and the pains of the whole human condition. And I think that for a projector it would be very interesting. So here I'm just talking, and this is a little bit of a disclosure, I am not an expert on the human design system. I have found, of course, I think that as almost any projector that has a little bit of time to do this and enough like self-reflection, is like you see the system and you're like, I recognize this. And you can even start like knowing and feeling into the centers of other people. So if you have the ability of doing that, I believe, but maybe this is just my conditioning and I'm conditioning you here, so that's why that's the disclosure is, I believe that alchemy is like mandatory. It should be mandatory for any projectors. I love how I do like this disclosure for, maybe I'm conditioning you and then I'm like, this is mandatory, but like I believe not only for projectors, of course, for all society, I think we should all like have some sort of alchemical processes inside, like as something that is as basic as teaching people and kids math, because like we are always going through some sort of emotional turbulence. You are going to be or to hit different parts of your chart along your life, and many different themes and grief and melancholy and all of these other things. And sometimes when you are I believe that, for example, like if you are connecting with your body, you need to have different points of how you are going to manage the energy. So in order to do alchemy, for me, the word alchemy is feeling everything. Okay, so feeling everything for me is also like how energy can move in, for example, in let's say that this is an emotion. Okay, so this emotion, is it like, going out or going in? And even you can see, I think that maybe you can feel the frequency when I'm even opening my hands like this and closing. I think that you're seeing this. When you know how to manage your energy, then you start like understanding how you move something very small and everything moves. Projectors not necessarily need to speak or to do or to say anything. We can have like very subtle ways of being, very subtle ways of even like speaking. So I think that alchemy is the expression of what is. So you are a projector. You receive and you absorb certain energies. And what happens with those energies? If you absorb them and you don't express them, then you're not projecting anything. And I know that certain parts of like the process can be like, oh, if you ask me for my opinion, then I give you this. But at the same time, even if you're not paying me, I have this in my system. So how the hell am I going to do this? So maybe again, this relates to your specific mechanics, your body mechanics. But if you are inside your body, then you need to start seeing like what are the different possibilities for this to be expressed. So, for example, you can express something through sound, and not necessarily words. It can be just sound. So, how does this feel? And you can be with people, in front of people, and actually do that. And I know this sounds a little bit weird, but I am weird on itself, and I understand that we are going weirder and weirder, and I hope that I'm also going to find my weird tribe, because the type of magic that comes from things like this allows you to understand in a much deeper level where we come from and how delusional we are to think that we are actually such an advanced race. We are not. I believe we are not. And I believe that we are not advanced in the same that in the sense that we are creating technologies and we are using technologies. This is my opinion. We are using technologies that surpass our own inner experience. I'm not even saying knowledge, I'm saying experience. We don't have enough experience in our vessels to be dealing with other types of beings, including artificial intelligence, including whatever. Because I don't think we know, and we know how to relate to other things. And I do agree with certain mystics when they say that everything is consciousness, including these technologies. So, anyways, so how else can you do this? How else can you do this alchemy? So you can think, for example, of these energies going out of your pores, coming in your pores. All right. You can think of this energy, and maybe your chest needs to go up, like is the case for me in this exact moment. I don't have a defined throat, so much of my alchemy also goes without sounds, although sometimes when I hit the sounds, it's just like so amazing what can be done. And I know that most of you, I mean, most of projectors, I think that are more in the spiritual way, they can also relate to this. And I think it's also important to understand that the alchemy that a projector can do is an alchemy that goes beyond just I'm transforming like an emotion or something like that. This is like anchoring humanity and society in relation to what is. We have a big problem in society. We don't know what is, and we are moving energy, but we are actually just moving um, loops. So we are not moving anything because we don't know what is. So when projectors are there and we are able to be and to project reality, because I think that a lot of projectors are like, but I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know. Yes, but maybe you haven't touched on the authenticity of your own body, and we call it this alchemy, but like we are already alchemical beings. Like I am literally like porous being, so whatever is coming and is going and penetrating, and I'm absorbing like all of this like energy is coming not only with this. We know how it is for us, like also entering into a building and being in the house of somebody else, being in the presence of, or like just something, a place that has been recently occupied, and if you can feel certain things. Some projectors are telling me, oh, I don't know actually how to feel this, like you seem so connected, so that's why I'm doing this. Like I think this is so important, because like once you start understanding the many different ways that you can express the energy that is around you, then it's easier for you. For example, if you are with someone and you are still not sure like what's theirs, what's yours, how to identify this, whatever. But if you are expressing how you feel, maybe you find yourself just literally moving away from the place. Maybe you find yourself like with an emotion that you actually need to communicate. And this also comes with part of the reason that we get so confused and stuck is because we are unable to move in consequence. So moving in consequence means that we are also avoiding actions that allow us to receive the consequence of something. So for example, like if there is people around us that are like going into very toxic situations, how do they know that they are, how does anything move if the person that is supposed to know these things, because you are the only other person that can feel this space, and you are not projecting the energy correctly? Maybe you are not inviting me to give you and tell you what I see, but I'm still like moving the energy around because I'm still here. I don't need to overthink like how can I help this person and all of this. And that is quite bullshit when we projectors are like, oh, but I'm trying to help them, and I understand this. What I'm saying, I'm calling it bullshit, is because when you understand that we are not here to be like everybody's friend per se, depends of course in your profile lines and everything, but like this is not about doing like friends, it's about helping humanity see, and helping humanity move the energy. Humanity is stuck in loops because they are doing things from the mental plane, so it's very difficult for them to access like the unknown. So that's why you come in here, and then you're like, if I had to express this really like like abstract sensation that I'm having, maybe I just need to move my face there, and maybe I just need to like do a little something with my arms, and I'm feeling it now. I'm like I'm moving the energy. I'm already alive. I am just doing my thing. I don't need anything else. I don't need to convince anybody that I need to guide you or not. While the situation is like dance, we don't need to solve it. We need to move it, and that's it. So this is why what it feels me so much, because then people start recognizing something in the air, because when they are with you, things are not stuck, things are clear. Why they are clear? Because if I sense the energy, I'm moving according to the energy. I don't have to make up the energy. So it is quite interesting to understand that, for example, I heard about this, and this was like Matias Di Stefano, and it was like a awful, like awful interview. I hated it so much because it was like all for men, and it's like, oh, we're just gonna talk about the future. And like, why there's no like any like feminine, real feminine energy in there, like oracles? Come on, guys, come on, you can do it better. But the thing is that they were talking about this. He was talking about like what the Earth is in relationship to other planets. So we are talking from the Earth, and we're saying like, oh, Venus is energy, and is this. Okay, so from Venus perspective, what's the energy of the Earth? And he was talking about like the energy of creation. And that hit me like this, because it's like, if we are trying to guide the energy and the creative energy, the creative life force, the force that can actually build things, we need to teach people certain things that are quite important about this. So for example, you create something, you don't create, it's like you are using the energy that is already in this, like disposable for the earth. You see, it's like you cannot create from nothing, you are creating from the energy in disposable, no, that's not the word, like that is available there for you. So it's quite interesting to just start, like, to teach people how it feels, when you do a creative process. And that's what people from many different cultures before us used to do, and some of them are still doing it, is how do you give back in a creative process, because that's natural. Because when you are there and you are part of that grid, that energy that gets needs to move in order to create something of value, that's why they need to see you, that's why they need to see us. So you need to teach them, you need to guide them. That's why, yes, if the energy is like this, then I'm doing this. Oh, what happened? I don't know, it just felt like this, and I move. I don't know, like it's many different situations, and my life is not like I started like really going forward like with my body, and it is not easy. Like sometimes I've literally fell off the wagon for this, because I couldn't keep it up. Sometimes the pressure was like, my mind was like, oh, they're gonna think that you're weird, blah blah blah. So it is what it is. So, anyways, I'm starting to open the conversation. Projectors, alchemy, expression. Okay, as long as you try to express what is there instead of just denying it or thinking that, oh, you should be in this and display and everything. Because again, like, once you master the energy, this is gonna look like, it doesn't matter if it's good or it's bad. If I think it's nice, happy, and sad, it doesn't matter, because I can move it around with certain neutrality. And when we are able to connect to neutrality in terms of energy, we are able to connect with our intuition, and then we're able to connect with the people and the geometry necessary for us. So I hope this helps. I'm a 2-4 projector, so if you want to work with me, I need to get in touch with you somehow, more, a little bit more intimate. So I hope this helps. If you want more information, if you want another video on this explaining something specific, then please let me know, because I would love to help as many projectors as I can, because I think this is like such a beautiful path. It wasn't also like, it wasn't easy for me at all. And now I don't need it to be, because I think I've mastered quite a lot of the energy. I'm still like learning so much. I'm like all the time listening, reading, and I'm getting more and more into the body. Like I'm recovering certain tools that I used to have, and I think that this like this download that I had about this, like teaching about alchemy, is quite important, because I think it is something that is gonna come very handy in the next year. So, anyways, I hope this helps, and you're up for a good, amazing ride. And if it helps you at all, it's like trust for a projector. Trust for a projector is, for example, if I am here, if I'm occupying this literal space in reality, I'm gonna be able to move out, move in, move out, move to the other side. I'm gonna be able to move. There is no loop. Loops are only mental. Loops are only in the head. Loops are only from the mind. Loops are only from beliefs. Okay, so the intuition is that silver thread that brings you out of this, but you need to be able to see. And I told you, silver thread, a thread, something that you can see, and it's like it's small, is it's like it's this little spark. So I know that, for example, like deconditioning a lot of the image that we have about femininity, receptivity, intuition. That's important. Look into your beliefs about intuition, about femininity, about women. What's your relationship to your mother? What is what is the image for you about women? And try to decondition that. That will help you always, of course. If you are a man and you are a projector man, it will help you even better, because of course it will make you peace with your mom, with your father, with blah 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 blah, every little thing. And of course it will attract all these crazy opportunities your way. Some of them don't need to be crazy. So anyways, I think that's it. I hope you have a good one, and good luck.